When my family mocked me for eating bread alone, I stayed silent. Months later, when my relatives ridiculed me for eating bread by myself, I held my tongue. Months later, they showed up yelling in my building's lobby, and I told them I was finished. I'm Lucas Moretti, a 33-year-old man who's been my family's personal ATM for the last 15 years. Yes, you read that correctly, 15 exhausting years. Get ready, this is a long and chaotic tale. I'm employed in pharmaceutical sales as a regional manager in the Midwest. The pay is ridiculously good. A base salary of about $85,000, with commissions and bonuses adding $35,000 to $45,000 in a strong year. I drive a fully paid-off Honda, live in a simple 2-bedroom apartment, and buy my furniture from estate sales. My colleagues think I'm frugal. My family assumes I'm penniless. I never bothered to correct either misconception. My 28-year-old brother, Adrian, is the family's pride and joy. My parents boast about his achievements at every gathering. He runs what he calls a digital marketing firm, which, from what I can tell, consists of him and 2 freelancers charging local businesses steep prices for basic Instagram ads. Still, he has a flashy office in a hip part of downtown Minneapolis, drives a leased Audi, and sports fancy watches he forgets to take off for photos. Adrian married Isabel 3 years ago. She's a real character. A former sorority president turned lifestyle influencer with 9,500 Instagram followers. She doesn't work. She just posts pictures of herself sipping overpriced coffee and preaching about manifestation and abundance. My mom treats her like she's royalty. They live in a renovated brownstone in a posh neighborhood, complete with heated floors and a gourmet kitchen. Their mortgage is over $2,900 a month. I know because I covered it twice when Adrian's business hit cash flow issues. I was 10 when I realized how things worked. Adrian was 5 when my parents threw him an extravagant birthday party at a trampoline park, renting out the whole place, hiring a Spider-Man impersonator, and getting a custom cake. I asked my mom if I could bring my best friend Matt. She gave me a furious look, like I'd asked for something outrageous, and snapped, "Lucas, today isn't about you, don't be selfish." I stayed home. My dad handed me $10 and told me to order pizza. I remember sitting alone in our living room, eating, while my mom's voicemail filled with relatives raving about the amazing party. No one noticed I wasn't there. No one asked why. That set the pattern. My college fund vanished the year Adrian wanted to attend a private high school with a lacrosse team. My graduation party was canceled because of Adrian's playoff game. When I saved enough from late-night shifts at a warehouse to buy my first car, a used Civic, my dad got mad, saying I made him look bad, like he couldn't provide for his family. 3 months later, he bought Adrian a used Jeep and told everyone he'd been saving for years to surprise him. My role was clear early on. I wasn't the son they celebrated. When my parents needed $5,800 for emergency roof repairs, I sent a check. When Adrian's wedding venue required a $10,500 deposit he didn't have, I paid it. When Isabel's car was totaled and insurance didn't cover it, I wired $2,400. When my dad's medical bills for a minor procedure piled up, I paid $3,700. No one thanked me. No one asked how I managed it. My dad would take credit, shaking hands at church, accepting praise for being a great provider. Adrian posted on social media about hard work and blessings. Isabel tagged my mom in photos of lavish brunches, thanking her for her generosity. I was invisible. My friend Felix called me out on it. Over lunch every few weeks, I'd casually mention helping my family with something. He'd shake his head, call me a pushover, and say they'd never stop taking as long as I kept giving. I'd change the subject, convinced that if I gave enough, they'd finally see me. I'd matter. I believed that lie for 15 years. 4 months ago, my mom called on a Wednesday afternoon while I was wrapping up a meeting with a hospital administrator. Her voice was bright and cheerful. She said my dad wanted to take the whole family to dinner on Friday to celebrate some big news from Adrian and Isabel. I knew what was coming but considered saying no. I didn't though, because I knew the fallout. My mom's long texts about family loyalty, my dad's voicemails calling me ungrateful, Adrian's posts about unsupportive people. It was easier to go, I agreed. She gave me the details, Friday at 7 p.m. at Monarch Prime, a place I'd never heard of. After we hung up, I looked it up. It was an upscale steakhouse for business deals, reservations only, with a strict dress code. Reviews mentioned entrees starting at $58, steaks upwards of $175. I knew how this would play out. My dad would sit at the head of the table, order the priciest items, give toasts, and act like the generous patriarch. When the bill came, he'd glance at me with that look, "You've got this, right?" And I'd pay, as always, while he soaked up the praise. I called Felix that night and told him about the dinner. He laughed, the kind of laugh you give when someone's about to repeat a mistake for the 100th time. "How much is this one gonna cost you?" he asked. "A couple grand probably," I said. "You know they're never gonna stop, right?" he replied. I said, "Yeah, I know." But I didn't, not really. Friday arrived. I hit the gym in the morning, ate lunch at my favorite Vietnamese spot, $8 for a giant bowl of pho, and spent the afternoon answering work emails and watching college football. At 6:45, I put on dress pants and a button-up, then drove to Monarch Prime. The restaurant was in a trendy converted warehouse with exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows. I handed my keys to the valet and walked in. The hostess, dressed in all black with perfect posture, led me through the dining room, dark wood, leather, dim lighting, hushed conversations. The kind of place where silence itself felt expensive. They'd reserved a corner table by the windows overlooking the city. I was the first to arrive. I sat facing the entrance, ordered water, and ignored the bread they brought out. My family arrived 12 minutes late, altogether. My mom wore a dress I'd never seen. My dad was in a full suit. Adrian and Isabel looked like they'd walked out of a high-end catalog. Adrian's suit probably cost more than my rent. They breezed past me to the table. My mom waved to someone across the room, my dad scanned the place, Adrian was on his phone, and Isabel was fixing her hair. No one said hello. No one acknowledged me. They sat down, shedding coats and bags. My mom leaned toward Isabel, whispering something that made them both giggle. Adrian ordered a drink before even glancing at the menu. My dad flagged the waiter to ask about the wine list. I sat there, hands clasped, waiting for someone to notice me. The waiter brought drinks, pouring them into 4 glasses. My parents, Adrian's, Isabel's, skipping mine completely. My dad didn't notice. The menus arrived, heavy leather-bound books with gold lettering. I opened mine and went straight to the prices. Appetizers $25, $50, cheapest entree $52 for chicken, pasta at $42. I decided on the pasta, filling, affordable, inconspicuous. My dad leaned back, not even opening his menu, and I knew he was going big. "Order whatever you want," he said. "Tonight's special." I glanced back at the pasta. The waiter returned, pen poised. My dad ordered first, the largest ribeye with truffle butter and roasted bone marrow. My mom got scallops with caviar and lobster tail. Adrian and Isabel rattled off their orders. A massive porterhouse, a fillet, a whole lobster appetizer, and extra sides. Then they all looked at me. The waiter turned to me. I started to say pasta, but my dad cut me off. "Lucas doesn't need much," he said. "He's trying to save money." He reached for the bread basket, warm sourdough rolls and butter, and slid it toward me. The sound of it scraping across the tablecloth was loud in the sudden quiet. "We didn't order enough for you anyway," he said. "This should do." The table went silent, the kind of silence when someone's publicly humiliated. I stared at the bread basket. My mom looked at her napkin. Adrian smirked, glancing at Isabel, who had a smug little smile like she was watching something amusing. "Honestly," she said, "you should be grateful your dad even invited you." The waiter froze, his pen still, looking from me to my dad, unsure if this was a joke. I shook my head slightly. He stepped back. I pulled the basket closer, tore off a piece of bread, and chewed slowly. It tasted like nothing. My dad resumed talking, now about real estate investments. My mom asked Isabel about baby names. The big news was apparently a pregnancy. Adrian scrolled his phone, drink in hand. I ate another piece of bread, then another, until the basket was empty. No one offered me anything else. The lobster appetizer arrived. Adrian and Isabel tore into it, cracking shells, raving about the flavor. My mom snapped photos. My dad poured more wine. When the entrees came, the waiter set massive plates in front of everyone but me. My dad's steak was enormous, Adrian's porterhouse spilled over the plate. Isabel gushed that her filet was the best thing she'd ever tasted, and my mom savored her scallops with her eyes closed. I sat there, hands empty, watching them eat, thinking about numbers. The roof repair I paid for, Adrian's wedding, my dad's medical bills, my mom's credit card debt I'd cleared twice, Adrian's mortgage payments. While they ate $350 steaks, I sat with a bread basket, tallying it all in my head. Adrian glanced at me and said, "You know, Lucas, if you actually worked hard, maybe you could afford to eat like an adult." Isabel laughed, actually laughed. My mom smirked. My dad didn't even look up. I nodded, said nothing, and waited. Let them enjoy it while it lasted. Dessert came, a huge chocolate confection with 4 spoons. They devoured it in minutes. I watched. My dad patted his stomach. That was perfect. We should do this more often. The waiter brought the bill in a sleek black folder, walked past everyone, and placed it in front of me. I opened it, $28.75, for a meal I didn't eat. I stood up, the chair scraping loudly enough to turn heads at nearby tables. I closed the folder, slid it toward my dad, looked at the waiter, and said, "Give it to the people who ate." Silence. My mom said, "Excuse me." I repeated, "Excuse me," and walked out through the restaurant, past the bar, past the hostess, into the October chill. My hands were steady. I felt calm, strangely, impossibly calm, like I'd been holding my breath for 15 years and finally exhaled. I got to my car, sat behind the wheel, and didn't start it. I just sat there in the parking garage, picturing the scene inside. The waiter standing there, my dad staring at the bill, his face red, my mom glancing around, worried about appearances, Adrian reaching for his wallet, knowing his card wouldn't cover it. My phone buzzed with texts. "Mom, get back here right now. Dad, you don't dare embarrass us like this. Fix this. Adrian, are you serious? You're humiliating us. Isabel, you're pathetic. Grow up and pay the bill." I read them, let them sit on my screen, then blocked every single one of them. Click, click, click. I drove home slowly, taking the scenic route through downtown, past the river and old neighborhoods. No hurry, no one was waiting. No one was calling. I parked at my building, walked up 3 flights, and sat on my couch in the dim light. For 15 years, I thought staying quiet kept the peace, that paying their bills and emergencies was my role, that if I gave enough, they'd see me. But sitting there with that bread basket, watching them eat $350 steaks, I finally got it. Years of guilt and patience unraveled. I wasn't their son or brother. I opened my banking app and reviewed the automatic payments I'd set up. Dad's yacht club membership, $340 a month. Adrian's business loan, $750 a month. Mom's spa membership, $150 a month. Their Scottsdale timeshare, $540 a month. I canceled them all. Each confirmation lifted a weight. I checked my credit cards and found authorized users. Adrian on 2, Dad on 1, Mom on another. I removed them all, locked the accounts, changed the passwords. Then I searched my email for invoice, receipt, payment. Years of records appeared, trips I wasn't invited to, parties I didn't attend, home upgrades I wasn't welcome for. I created a folder called Proof and moved everything there. I dug deeper, checking pending credit card charges. 6 were unauthorized. Isabel at Saks 2 days before the dinner, Adrian at a golf shop, Mom at Nordstrom, Dad at a luxury car detailer, and 2 from Adrian's business for marketing expenses. $2,000 total. I disputed them all, filed fraud reports, and got confirmations within minutes. The charges would be reversed. They'd get notices. Perfect. I found the Scottsdale timeshare payment, which I'd been covering for 5 years. The next payment was due in 5 days. I called the company and canceled it, getting a refund for the deposit. I found Adrian's business loan, $32,000 he took out 2 years ago to expand, with me covering the monthly payments because he swore he'd repay me when things stabilized. They never did. I called the bank, said I was no longer responsible, and they updated the records to send all future notices to Adrian. By Sunday night, I'd canceled 15 recurring payments, saving $3,400 a month, the cost of people who treated me like a stranger. Monday morning, I emailed my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, who'd likely hear from my parents soon. I wrote, "I'm handling a personal matter and need space. Please don't contact me on behalf of my parents or Adrian. I'll reach out when I'm ready." I sent it to 20 people and set up email filters to divert anything mentioning my parents, Adrian, or Isabel to a folder I'd never check. I called Felix and told him everything. He was quiet, then laughed. "Holy hell, Lucas, you did it." I said, "Yeah, I did." He said, "About damn time, how do you feel?" I thought about it. "Free." Tuesday afternoon, they showed up at my building. I was heading out for lunch when I saw them in the lobby, Mom, Dad, Adrian, Isabel, talking to Eric, the building manager. Dad's voice was loud. "It's a family emergency, we need to see him now." Mom looked worried. Adrian stood with arms crossed, jaw tight, and Isabel seemed irritated. I paused in the hallway, considered sneaking out, but this was my home. They were the intruders. I walked forward. Eric saw me first. "Mr. Morty, these people claim they're your family. They want access to your apartment." I looked at them. "I don't want them in my building." Mom stepped forward. "Lucas, please, we just want to talk." I shook my head. "No," Dad's face reddened. "This is absurd. You humiliated us. You left us with a $2,900 bill we couldn't pay. You're neglecting us. You owe us an explanation." I met his eyes. "I don't owe you anything. Sort out your own mess." Adrian stepped closer. "Don't talk to Dad like that. Grow up and fix this." I said, "You're not my problem anymore. I'm done." Mom's eyes welled up. "Lucas, how can you do this? What's wrong with you?" Something in me snapped. "What's wrong with me?" I said. "I'm done letting you walk all over me. I've been dealing with your nonsense for years, paying for everything because I was naive enough to think you saw me as a son. You don't. You see me as a bank account. The bank's closed." "Get out." They froze, feigning shock. "That's not true," Dad said. I cut him off. "Then why did you give me bread while everyone ate $350 steaks? Why did Isabel say I should be grateful to be invited? Why have I been funding your lives for years without a single thank you?" The lobby went quiet. Eric shifted awkwardly. A few residents passed by, trying not to stare. "I canceled the payments," I said. "All of them. I removed you from my credit cards. I disputed your unauthorized charges. I'm done. Sort yourselves out and leave me alone." Dad shouted, "You can't cut us off like this." I smiled. "I just did. Sue me." Adrian's voice sharpened. "You'll regret this, Lucas." I looked at him. "I really won't." I turned to Eric. "Make sure they leave." He nodded and stepped toward them. "You folks need to go." I walked past them, out the front door, hearing Dad call my name. I didn't stop, got in my car, and drove off without looking back. That night, I did the math. I pulled every receipt, bank statement, and invoice from the past 15 years and built a spreadsheet. The total: $248,000. That was a house, a retirement fund. It filled 12 pages. Over the next week, I tracked the fallout through that filtered email folder. Dad's yacht club sent a suspension notice. Membership revoked for non-payment. 30 days to settle or lose access permanently. The Scottsdale Timeshare Company charged Dad's card a $1,600 cancellation fee. Adrian got a bank notice about his business loan missing its first payment, 14 days to pay or face default. One by one, the luxuries I'd funded disappeared. My uncle emailed, saying Dad was struggling financially and Mom was distraught, urging me to reconsider because family forgives. I didn't reply. A cousin messaged me on Facebook, accusing me of tearing the family apart over one dinner. I blocked her. They didn't stop. 2 weeks after the dinner, I came home to find my car keyed, deep scratches on both sides, jerk carved into the driver's door. I took photos, filed a police report. The officer said without video or witnesses, there wasn't much they could do. I knew who did it, though I couldn't prove it. 3 days later, someone slashed my tires. That night, I installed a $350 motion-activated dash cam, front and rear. Then my apartment was targeted. Red paint splashed on my door. Traitors scrawled in sloppy letters, dripping onto the carpet. Eric was furious. Hallway cameras caught a hooded figure at 1:30 a.m., face obscured. I filed another police report. The same officer grew interested, saying it was clearly targeted harassment and suggesting I document everything and consider a restraining order. It continued. Someone called my office, posing as a client, and filed a false complaint, claiming I mishandled their account and cost them money. My boss called me in, concerned. I showed him the police reports and explained the harassment pattern. He believed me but seemed uneasy. Then they attacked my reputation. A fake Facebook profile in my name posted rants about abandoning my sick mother, stealing from Adrian's business, and refusing to help my family. Friends texted, asking if I was okay. I reported the profile. Facebook removed it after 3 days, but the damage was done. I called Felix, who said, "Dude, get a lawyer. These people are unhinged." He gave me the number for Clara Weiss, a family law attorney specializing in restraining orders. I met her downtown, bringing the spreadsheet, police reports, photos, and evidence of financial abuse. She reviewed it all carefully. "Lucas, this is clear harassment," she said. "We can file for restraining orders, but it might escalate things. Are you ready?" I said. "I'm ready," she nodded. "Good, let's make them face consequences." We filed restraining orders against all four. The petitions detailed everything. The $248,000 in payments, police reports, photos, the spreadsheet, and screenshots of threatening texts from extended family referencing my parents. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. Things got worse. Someone spray-painted, "Lucas Moretti is a thief" on my building's exterior. Eric was livid. Cameras caught a dark SUV at 3 a.m., but the plates were obscured. I recognized it, Adrian's dark blue Audi Q7. I sent the footage to Clara and the police. Then Isabel slipped up, posting the vandalism on her Instagram story with, "When karma catches up to those who abandon family." I screenshotted it before it vanished and sent it to Clara. She grinned. "They're making this too easy." The harassment persisted. A fraudulent HOA report claiming I ran an illegal business from my apartment, forcing me to attend a hearing. A dead rat left on my doormat, which I photographed and reported. Then Adrian showed up at my office during a meeting with a hospital buyer. My assistant, looking nervous, said someone claiming a family emergency was in the lobby. I walked out to find Adrian disheveled, hair a mess. His face twisted when he saw me. "We need to talk," I said. "No, we don't." He stepped closer. "You're destroying this family. Mom's on anxiety meds because of you. Dad had to sell his boat. My business is failing because you stopped the loan payments. Isabel's pregnant and stressed." I said, "Not my problem." His voice rose. "You owe us, Lucas." I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Or what?" I said. "I'll call the police and add this to the restraining order." His face paled. He glanced at the phone, then left, climbing into his SUV, the same one from the footage. I sent the video to Clara. That night, an unknown number called. It was my mom, sobbing. "Lucas, please, your dad had to take out a loan. We need help, we need you." I said, "No, Mom, figure it out, I'm not your bank anymore." She said, "That's not fair." I replied, "You let Adrian and Isabel mock me. You used me for 15 years and never asked how I was. Now you're vandalizing my property and harassing me at work. And you want to talk about fairness?" Silence. "If you don't help, we'll lose the house." I said, "Then you'll lose the house." She said, "How can you be so cruel?" I said, "I learned from the best," and hung up, blocking the number. The court date was intense. The courthouse felt cold and stark. Clara and I met outside the courtroom. She carried 2 briefcases of evidence. "They're here," she said. "All 4 with a lawyer, Henrik Vogel. He'll paint you as vengeful and controlling, but don't worry. We'll crush them." Inside, my family sat with Vogel, a confident man in an expensive suit. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, began the hearing. Vogel went first, portraying me as a manipulative son who controlled my family financially, then cut them off without warning. He claimed the vandalism was unproven, the fake Facebook profile could have been anyone, and they just wanted to reconnect. Clara stood and dismantled them. She presented the $248,000 spreadsheet, the Monarch Prime bill, the harassment timeline, keyed car, slashed tires, vandalism, fake social media, dead rat, Adrian at my office. She showed Adrian's SUV footage, Isabel's Instagram post, the fraudulent charges, canceled payments, and Adrian's fake complaints. She played the video of Adrian confronting me. Vogel objected, saying financial history was irrelevant. The judge shut him down, saying she'd decide what mattered. Clara finished strong. The judge stared at my family with disdain. My dad couldn't stay quiet, standing to rant about raising me and my one mistake over dinner. Clara's evidence buried them. The outcome isn't detailed here, as the original story cuts off, but the path was clear. Consequences were coming. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real life stories, get more experiences.